says she's honest.
The president says alcohol is the #1 higher education. Hey, somebody better tell Cullen because his splashy new anti-campaign never mentions alcohol. Sally Wiggin joins us today to talk about anything and everything and to take your questions. She's fun so soon. Actually, I can be so twofer today on Cullen on cable. Welcome to Cullen on Cable. That's a really strong statement that the president of Penn State made in the wake of that appalling spectacle this weekend at State College. More damage done than done by hordes of long-haired, pot-smoking, anti-war demonstrators during the Vietnam era. And now we have these clean-cut children of the Reagan era drinking booze, which of course is legal and generally preferred, I suppose, by parents to anything that might reek of something growing out of the ground. And you've got the president of Penn State saying it's the #1 problem facing higher education today. He made clear Penn State does not stand alone here. It's interesting because last week saw what? The president unveiled this splashy new anti-drug campaign. The frying pan came back out, only one-upped. Instead of just an egg in a frying pan, now we've got some deranged girl trashing an entire kitchen. Not making the point, again, I can assure you, or over making the point and thus not making the point. Kids who this is aimed at, watching that spot when it was just an egg in a frying pan, used to laugh at it. Now they're going to howl at it. And interestingly enough, all of those ads, all of your tax dollars going for yet more nonsense that doesn't work in the ridiculously inept war on drugs, not once is alcohol mentioned. And yet here we have the president of a major institution of higher education saying it, not pot, not heroin, not crack, not cocaine, is the #1 problem facing higher education. But you see, the feds make a lot of money on alcohol, they get a lot of tax dollars, revenue from it. And in fact, the feds and everybody else, there's a whole cottage industry based around the criminalization of marijuana. So the hands here are not clean when it comes to why our government targets some drugs and not others. The worst one of all, of course, the legal one. We can make this point till we're blue in the face, not that it does any good. Well, Sally Wiggin is going to be by rather soon. She's already here, but we're not letting her in yet. And when she comes, she's a lot of fun. We're going to talk about anything and everything. I guess I already said that, so don't repeat myself. So last night, anyway, while Sally Wiggin is holding down the fort at her station, we won't mention any call letters. Well, that's not very nice over at Channel 4. I guess I still didn't mention any call letters. I'm watching, dutifully, Channel 11 here. And what do I see but David Johnson, happens to be a friend of mine. David Johnson on the scene on Mount Washington. Now, you have heard that they have instituted a 1-hour parking rule up at the overlooks and on Grandview Avenue. So this puts a bit of a crimp in the evening plans of a lot of young Pittsburgh kids who hang out at those overlooks or lookouts. But you have to believe that if Pittsburgh's going to pawn itself off as a destination city and as a tourist attraction, which is what we keep trying to do, although it seems a little strange to me too, if there's one place that a tourist would want to go, it's up there to Mount Washington to look over this spectacular and startling view, perhaps one of maybe the most startling view in urban America. And so if a tourist from anywhere comes up there, what do they see? A bunch of Pittsburgh kids hanging around, smoking cigarettes, and generally sort of upsetting the ambiance. So it doesn't quite make it as a tourist attraction. So anyway, check out this story with David Johnson. There's a few things I sort of wanted to point out. We call this back talk because, well, that's what I do when I'm watching TV. I talk back.
Police beat officers now enforce the new 1-hour parking restriction, marking down times, and later returning to write tickets. Residents along Grandview have long complained of excessive noise.
Hello, why are you looking at me?
From car stereos.
Are you looking at the right
and about
person here?
loitering as well. The new 1-hour parking rule is the latest effort to curb all that.
They're never going to stop it. People are just going to keep coming up. It's nothing they can do about it.
Okay. Now, there you are. Now, if you were a tourist who've heard that Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is an incredible city, and the place to see it is on Grandview Avenue, looking over this glorious point, and you come up to see it, and instead you encounter a local resident. Look at this.
They're never going to stop it. People are just going to keep coming up. It's nothing they can do about it.
No.
You know what I mean?
There's nothing they can do about it, you know what I mean? Well, I got news for this guy. There is something they can do about it. They're starting to do something about it, and look at that attitude. Anyway, hey, were you up at State College this weekend? Yeah, they had some fun up there. It was even more fun than what you're talking about.
That's all. It's a hangout spot for all of us.
Guy.
Some of them are real loud.
All right, Philomena here.
And
we'll get
a lot
by
of
her.
noise.
She's got to live with
motorcycles.
Her kids. Okay. Whoa. Look, there's a young girl smoking, I'll tell you. It's an outrage. Oh, here's the guy. Here's another one. Listen. Pittsburgh's finest. Here we go.
It sucks, because they kick us out in an hour. We ain't got nothing else to do.
It sucks. They kick us out in an hour and we ain't got nothing else to do. He's an attractive young man. I bet there's even a brain in that head. I have a suggestion for you, Charles. Here's something else you can do. Take English lessons. Read a book. Jeez. All right, that's all I have to say. Anybody have a problem, by the way, with... Anybody have a Hello? Anybody have a problem with... You agree with the kids, by any chance? That they have every right to stand there and stare at the beautiful Golden Triangle as long as they darn well please. Is this, is this an anti-kid? Poor kids, they got nowhere to go. They got nothing to do. I mean, if there's not a riot at State College, what are you supposed to do? If you can't overindulge, drink beer, and kill yourself with tobacco? I mean, we ain't got nothing to do. It sucks. I'll tell you, this guy is really articulate. Might have a career in television. Just keep it up, Charles. Nicole, how you doing?
Yeah.
Nicole?
Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to say that there's millions of people out there that are drinking too much alcohol and dying, or using cocaine and dying, and no one ever really looks at the people who just use marijuana. Everyone says it's a gateway drug, it goes into something else. All these people are dying and killing each other and killing themselves, and this drug on war includes marijuana. I think that people should take a closer look at what it really does to you.
What does it really do to you?
It doesn't make you angry. It doesn't make you go out and rob. These people drink.
What does it do to you?
It just relaxes you. It helps with pain. It helps you sleep. It helps you with your appetite. It's recreation, and there's no harm in it. And I think anything, you're right, that the government makes money on the alcohol. They should make that illegal instead. And nobody ever says anything about that.
Well, I wouldn't make alcohol illegal, but I also wouldn't make marijuana illegal. As you let people decide for themselves. Obviously, of the two, alcohol is the more destructive. I wouldn't get out of, you might like marijuana, and I understand that, but don't oversell the point. I mean, the fact is it's not totally good for you either, but
right.
Between the two,
Right. Well,
probably it's I mean, if you're going to do one or the other, probably marijuana is less dangerous.
Well, when you drink, you can't drive a car. It's very addictive.
Well, you shouldn't drive a car when smoking pot either.
Well,
perception is altered.
Well, it's a lot easier to do than when you're drunk.
So how often do you smoke pot, Nicole?
Maybe once a week or so, but it's it's not something that leads you into a drug lifestyle.
Where do you get it? If it's illegal, is it easy to get?
Sometimes people have it and they'll just offer it, and
how old are you? I'm just getting I want to get a feel for how old are you?
I'm 19.
And when did you start smoking marijuana?
Probably the first time was when I was 16.
16? Mm-hmm. When did you have your first drink?
See, I drank when I was 14, and I drank a lot, and it was not good for me. And since then, I have never drank again.
But you do smoke marijuana if you want
occasionally,
a buzz or whatever.
But I never drank alcohol. Alcohol, I think, is a more addictive drug. I have people who are alcoholics in my family, and I don't want to take the risk of becoming like them.
Okay. Well, thanks for your call and your honesty. I appreciate it. Bye-bye. Bye. Hello, this is Gary? Hello, Gary?
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, how are you?
I am fine.
Thank you. Hey, I have a question, too, on the marijuana versus alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay, I live in Butler, and the same thing is up here on Main Street. You got a lot of rowdy teenagers, and they're drinking alcohol. Right in downtown Butler, off side streets, and they intimidate the older people. And when I was a kid, I'm 40, when I was a kid, there was a lot of pot smoking, and there was none of this intimidation, rowdiness, or violence. It was mellow. And the girl that called before I did.
Right, Nicole.
Yeah, it does. I have a sleeping problem. I use it. It makes me go to sleep. It relaxes me. I don't get violent. I live with a woman with 3 boys. I don't have it in the house, and I don't do it around the kids. But
okay, and so you're saying that alcohol has these, makes people more violent
there's no doubt
or
about
surly.
it.
Marijuana doesn't do that.
No.
When did you start? I'm assuming you've had a drink or two too. When did you do pot for the first time? When did you do alcohol?
I'd say both around the age of 15.
Both around the age of 15.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, your crowd likes to smoke pot over alcohol, or do both, or what?
It's pot.
It's pot. And are you a tax-paying, hard-working citizen?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And I'm getting sick of this. You see the ads on television. For sports on Budweiser, it's Michelob time.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with sports. And what gets me is when I go down to we have a real nice restaurant right on the corner on Main Street. And when I go down there, I see the people who put pot, the people who get arrested for pot, they put these people in jail. I'm talking about the DA's office.
Yeah.
And they're down at Natilli's with the Bar Association. They're drinking. They're drinking beer. They're drinking alcohol. And when these people are leaving, I watch them. They stumble up Main Street. And it's like, what the heck is this? They're putting people in jail.
Okay.
And
let me tell you what it is, because you asked the question, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
It's called hypocrisy.
Right.
Okay. Well, we'll agree. I agree with that. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate the call. I'm going to move on. I do. Al, hello?
Comment about the smoking marijuana versus drinking. And the whole thing about driving a car and doing other things. When you smoke marijuana, I refer to it as kind of a subjective high as opposed to drinking, where it's an objective high. In so much as when you're drunk, you're drunk. No matter what you do, you can't get sober. I mean, no matter what they say, black coffee, it doesn't matter. You can't get sober. But when you're smoking marijuana, if you're in a stressful situation, the rush of adrenaline, all of a sudden, it ruins your high. I mean, you're sober.
It ruins your high.
I mean, it happens. And
I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, you think so? You can overcome a marijuana high, but you cannot overcome a...
Yeah, from my own experience and experience of friends and observation, it's true. In fact, a lot of people say, well, that ruined my buzz, because suddenly they're straight.
Well, How old are you? I'm just trying to get a fix for all these people who are smoking pot. How old are you?
43.
You're 43. Do you have children?
Yes. I don't smoke it around the house. I'm real responsible about it. I don't smoke it hardly at all because anymore. I just sort of go to sleep.
Are you afraid of getting caught?
No, not really.
Why not? Because I mean, you get caught, you could lose your job, all this stuff.
Well,
no.
I'm not. I'm not smoking out in the street.
Or don't you think? Okay, so you think if you're not smoking on the street, generally speaking, the laws against pot are not even enforced. You don't feel a threat.
Right. But if they are, they can really ruin you. I mean, they're for a rather minor infraction. It can really mess up your life.
Well, I'm sure that's true.
From a legal standpoint.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Appreciate the call. Hypocrisy, that's the last word I want to leave you with. Here's your brain on, I don't know what. Here's your brain on here's your brain on pot. Here's your brain on alcohol. Yeah, that's the one. No public service announcements about that, is there? What? Hypocrisy. Hi, I'm sitting here talking to a friend of mine. Actually, one of the first people. Might have been one of the first people I met here in Pittsburgh. You know her too, although maybe not as well as I do. Sally. You're almost as infamous, and you're almost infamous enough in town that you can. Sally would identify you. You know, that single name identification, which is really cool to be able to say. You know, like Cher, Madonna.
I think that's
Sally.
I think that's a bit. What do I don't know which camera. Do I?
Oh no, you've only been in the business for like 20 years. What do you mean by camera?
You didn't like me. You didn't like me when you first met me.
No, I didn't like her.
You did. I didn't like you because I thought you were a threat. I mean, of course, I'd only been here a year.
You picked me up at the airport with a photographer. They flew me in, and she was this blonde babe sitting in the back seat of the news car. And yeah, you were not very nice to this.
I remember acting a bit arrogant because I was shy.
Yeah, she'd gotten to town all of like 1 month ahead of me, and we're acting like well, I don't know who you are, but I'm going to be bigger than you. And
no, that's true. It was true. That's not. Anyway. Don't listen to a word she says. She does have a tendency to exaggerate.
That's true. For the one or two people who don't know who she is, it's Sally Wiggin, and she's the.
What am I? I don't know.
Well, you're
newsreader. Actually, I guess that's
that
what we
is
call
pretty
it.
much.
That's what the BBC calls it.
Do you think that's more correct? I mean, given what you do 90% of the time.
It might be now, regrettably, because we spend so much time, producing teases and looking over the shows. And except when I do the Steelers specials, those are all mine. Then I'm a reporter again. Actually, I'm a sports reporter.
Okay, well, I want to talk about that because people might not know that's what you wanted to be. She wanted to be a sports reporter, but it was in the days before they let girls do.
No, it's because I was lazy. It was going to take a lot more work to break in, and I didn't want to work that hard.
Oh, I think it would have been a rough row. They were not.
And that's why I didn't.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, but that's understandable. By the way, it's not Wiggins. Can we get that clear?
It's Wiggin. This is really odd. I mean, we're like talking to people on television.
Sally, and here's what you do. You just look at me. I can't believe I have to tell her what I would have to. You just look at me. Don't worry about the camera. If somebody calls later, you can look into camera 3 and develop eye contact with them.
Okay.
See, this is not a controlled situation.
No, it's not, and it's making me really nervous.
I hate being a guest. But you've been a guest before. You do a lot of
on
morning
radio.
Talk show. Well,
but
what's
that's
the difference?
Different. That's very different.
Oh, because now they're looking at you.
Yeah.
And you're
and I don't know which camera. And I don't know where my good side is. There is no good side.
Do you have a good side? Do you?
Oh yeah.
Which is it?
I forget because I don't know left from right. So I don't know which side
No, wait. Here, show her on camera 3. Do both sides.
No, I'm not going to do that. Oh no, that would be too embarrassing.
We'll vote on which side it is.
No
fun at all. Okay, now wait a minute.
Sure, you know anchors aren't any fun. We've talked about that.
They're not allowed to be.
They're just too paranoid. They can't have an opinion. They're just so uptight.
Well, I was an anchor for like about 6 months. It didn't work. I couldn't do it. It's confining.
This was in Wisconsin?
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't let me do it here.
In Madison,
It was confining.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're not allowed to really show your stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's interesting, I heard, oh, can I mention Peter Jennings? Can I mention Peter Jennings?
Can we mention Peter Jennings? I guess. Yeah, what about Peter Jennings?
I heard him make a comment, oh gosh, last night. He said, what, now I can't even remember what it was.
But,
that happens
it
a
showed,
lot now.
no, I know.
Yeah, it was
But he showed sort of where
it was not objective. It was something about the Northern Ireland peace process, such as it is. That's what he said.
Oh,
and I went,
so that's, wow.
Whoa.
Whoa. By the way, if you want to ask her anything, feel free, 333-PCNC.
Now, when you're looking there, the camera's just on you,
it's on
right?
a two-shot.
I'm sorry.
Excuse us while we talk to you. This is on a camera 2 is on a 2-shot.
Okay.
Camera 3 will be your single shot.
Okay.
I have camera 1 here for when I look over there and they take me.
See, I don't know what to do with my hands. I have something interesting to say.
What do you mean? You went to anchor school. Here, let me show you.
No,
I know what they do.
I don't know what.
Here, you go like this. You go like this, right? You hold them like that on the desk, on the whatever you call that. And are you ever allowed to like gesture?
I have a ring on. I don't have a. I forgot my ring.
I was once called into the general manager's office at Channel 4 when I worked there, and I was told to stop waving my hands, and I said,
"Well, you have nice hands, though."
No, that wasn't the point. I said that's what. But I said that's what I do. I said if you want another babe on the set who sits like this, there's a million of them. I said. As for me, I wave my hands. You taking a break on me? They're taking a break, Sally. We'll try to stop acting like you're not here in just a second. 333-PCNC. We're going to find out if Sally has a crush on a cartoon character. Coming up. We were just wondering if you could reasonably date a gynecologist. No, I'm sorry, she's going to kill me. Hi, welcome back, Sally Wiggin.
I met my ex-husband through my gynecologist.
You did? Mm-hmm. How did that work?
My ex-husband was my gynecologist's best friend.
And so you're in the gynecologist's office?
I mean, the gynecologist was a guy.
And he said, well, everything seems okay.
No, because the gynecologist was my softball coach.
Oh. Don't ask. Jeez. Can we take a call or two? Just
yes, absolutely. Sure.
Okay. Jeff, go ahead. It's Wiggin here.
How you doing, Sally? I'm just curious as to where you're from. I admire your work, and I was just curious how old you are.
No, do I have to tell that?
No.
No, I don't mind telling, Jeff. I am going to be, see, I try to get used to the next year.
Do you really tell?
Oh, I don't mind telling. I try to get used to the next year by saying that I'm that age, so then I end up forgetting how old I really am. I'm 45 right now, but I'll be...
Over there, a red light is on.
Jeff, but I'll be 46 in several months, and
Jeff,
I don't mind telling that.
Are you surprised at that age?
Very.
Yeah.
How old?
Because I act like a child.
No, wait. How old did you think she was?
38, 39.
Cool.
Oh, you're sweet.
That's
you're
great.
very sweet, Jeff. And it's funny, I was just talking to someone about where I'm from. I think my parents would like me to say I'm from New England because they were from there, from Maine and Massachusetts. But I was born in Michigan. When I was 6, my parents moved to Alabama for my father's job. Eventually, I went back to Michigan to graduate school. I really, though, because I was raised in a New England home in the South, I feel really bizarre. So it's really odd.
But the fact is, if Jeff's listening to you from the age of 6 to the time you went to graduate school, which is
I was in the South, yeah.
She was in Birmingham, Alabama.
But both my parents would roll over in their graves if they knew I said I was from the South.
Well, they moved to the South. They raised you in the South. I mean, you were in the South.
But you know my parents.
Yeah.
They have their own ideas about where they are.
Okay, so Jeff, that's it. She's a Southern belle?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And she's older than you thought.
Thank you.
Although she's always happy to tell me that I'm older than she
Not
is.
that I don't like the South, but...
No. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff.
You got good taste in women if you like her. Brad, hi. Brad?
Brad?
Yes.
Hi.
Oh, we were afraid you left, Brad.
Oh, gosh.
That happens to me a lot.
Sally and Lynn, I love both your talent, and I think that you are outstandingly professional, especially the way you put on the shows. Well, I have a question for Sally, and primarily with the weather. Mr. Donato has outstanding programming and such like that, but in comparison to the other majors, why do we have to have his name as the weather? And what happens thereafter when he
Oh, put it on the spot while you're at it. You mean it's not, you mean DiNardo Weather?
Right. I mean, does he own the equipment and he takes it when he leaves? No.
Actually, do you know what? I have to tell you, you know that he started a large meteorological service.
I know, especially for the airports and such like that.
Yeah, and he had to, I think when he went into television, I'm not sure I'm telling the story right, he had to sell it. And I think because of that, and he is, Joe, probably more than any other meteorologist in town, is really truly a meteorologist.
Right.
He has a master's degree from the University of Chicago, which is a formidable academic institution. And I think, I just think that it was because he has been here so long and because he actually had his own meteorological company that's why it developed. No, I don't know what's going to happen because I assume he's going to be around as long as I am, and that's going to be for a long time.
Does that satisfy you?
Well, yes, it satiates me, but I don't know if it satisfies.
Well,
do you know what? A little dissatisfaction is good in life.
I know, we always can strive for more.
Yes, exactly.
Let me just add this, because I don't have to go back and see DiNardo today. You just be quiet. Let me just say, let me say this. He, and I don't know if it's still true, but for years he was, you know, when they do those things about who is the most recognizable television personality in town, Joe DiNardo was absolutely the gold standard in town. Everybody, that made him a very powerful man, and one that Channel 4 would wanted to hang on to. So I would think if Joe DiNardo said, and you know what, instead of Action News, I think we'll call it DiNardo News. They would have, okay, Joe, anything you say, anything you say. And I mean, that's the reality. I mean, certain people in the business develop power and the ability to bargain.
But you have to admit that the reason he's developed that standing in the community is because he's a real person.
Absolutely.
He is a real person. I've talked to him, and I've touched him, and I know he's real.
Well, I had a story about him a long time ago, right out of high school, that I feel real bad about. Maybe you guys know about this, but a long time ago, he was receiving his brand new automobile. And I was working at this car dealership at this point in time. At this particular instance, he was to receive the car, 2 or 3 days before the actual release of the new models. Me being a young high school child, just driving for the first time. No, not really for the first time. But he was standing there in the lot, and I was awed, I would guess. And pulling into the lot, I did not realize that I had, yes, this is true, I ran and I hit into the pole. And I never heard Joe DiNardo use language like that before, but nevertheless, I can understand why.
He didn't say an upper, aloft. He said he really was. So you found out he was a real person.
That's I did. Very real and genuine. And I love him. He does great work.
I know that you're being very discreet. I know the car you're talking about.
Yeah, it was me.
You do? That's a great story. I love it. Hey, thanks for the call.
Very good.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
We're having fun with Sally Wiggin. Time's gonna fly. 333 PCNC, and we still don't know what cartoon character she has a crush on, but I am going to get to the bottom of it when Cullen on Cable continues. Don't look at my notes. Hi, welcome back. Lynn Cullen here with an old friend.
No, I'm not old.
I didn't mean that. I mean a friendship of some duration with this woman, Sally Wiggin, who's obviously being very forthright because she's already told everybody how old she is. Okay, so she told me before we went on the air that you saw this.
I took three young girls, one 15, they're all sisters, one 15, one 11, and one 4. And the 4-year-old, whose name's Stevie, has never been to a movie. She's she was.
You're getting off the subject.
Well, I want to know. We went to see Mulan. We went to see Mulan,
and
the minute the guy came on, I went, oh.
I know, I did too.
And I thought, this is so pathetic.
I know, falling in love with
that I have a crush, and I'm going to go see it again.
I know. I have to tell you.
Not because I thought she was wonderful.
Because you want to look at him.
I love the horse, too.
Yeah, the horse is okay, but the guy is really cool.
Yes.
Mulan, the new Disney animated feature, I took my son to it, too. And when they introduced the obvious male lead, Prince Charming, I did the same thing. I said, oh, wow. I mean, he's gorgeous.
I know, but they don't kiss.
Well, that's he's a cartoon character.
Cartoon characters kiss. I was thinking about Superman kiss sometimes.
Okay, but we were thinking,
Superman comic books.
how pathetic is it? Two women in love with a cartoon character. I mean, that is pathetic.
And do you know how many little girls are, too? I'm sure.
I'm sure. Well, that's okay. He's cool.
He is cool. He's cool.
And the neat thing about that film is they finally really did it. The lead, the strongest character, the bravest
And she
character,
saves
the most
everybody
powerful
else.
character, the hero is a girl. But of course, she's pretending to be a boy. But it's the only way she could do it.
Right.
I want to really quickly run down some things. We got.
Do you want to take some calls?
Yeah, we do. But how much sleep? I got no sleep last night, but I was thinking as I was not sleeping last night, well, you're interviewing Sally in the morning, and she doesn't sleep, so maybe you'll be on the same. I mean, you get home at what? After midnight, maybe?
Midnight.
Okay, about midnight. And I happen to know that this woman, like, is going places at 7 in the morning and 8 in the morning. What the heck? I mean, and so by the time
I have to stop.
By the time people first see you, like at 5 is the first show you do, you've already been running all day, and your day is actually just starting.
Yeah,
You're saying you have to stop.
I was away for 2 weeks on vacation, and I realized that sleep really is one of the most important things you can do for longevity, so that you feel good, to boost your immune system. And
you're not doing it.
Well, no. I now try to get to sleep at 12:30. I'm exhausted enough that I can fall asleep at 1:15, and then I'm trying to sleep until 8:30. I really am. I'll wake up at 7:30. The dogs will wake me up. One of them will, but the others are old and half dead, so they sleep until
Sally
later.
collects half-dead dogs, and this is something that's generally not known about her. Half-dead, strange dogs on top of it. They're all about the size of small horses, and they're all dying, and those are the only dogs she will take. I know you're wondering how many she has, but we'll just tease you about that. But
I'm on the edge of being eccentric.
If you have a half-dead large dog and you're trying to get rid of it, Sally really is probably the person to call. Okay, listen. I think I'm kidding. Hey, there's another Sally on the line here. Okay. Sally, say hi to Sally.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Sally. Are you a Sarah?
No.
Okay.
No, I have been a Sally ever since I was born.
Yeah, I'm a Sarah. People don't realize that Sally is the nickname for Sarah in the dictionary.
And do you know that means we are both a princess?
Yes, and I have been accused of that.
What do you mean it's a princess?
Repeatedly. Sarah means princess in Hebrew, right, Sally?
Right.
Yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
I only took 7 years of Hebrew. You'd expect me to know
princess.
that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We knew something you didn't, Lynn.
Oh, I love that, Sally.
So, honest to Pete.
And I have to say, Lynn, I enjoy Sally so much when she's on your girlfriend shows.
Me too, but she won't do it anymore because I embarrass her.
No. Oh, I hope she will.
No, I'll do it again. She did embarrass me once. She called me, what did she call me, an apologist for?
I don't know. It wasn't embarrassed. She got mad at me.
I got
She was furious with me. Okay, but
well, Sally, I have to say that you are my favorite news person in Pittsburgh.
Well, aren't you,
and
dear?
I feel so guilty for holding your feet to the fire for something that the station does.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's okay, because I figured I was going to get some of that today.
Well, I think that it's something that, as professional a person as you are, that you probably are as turned off by it as I am, but are not in a position to say so. But I really object to those graphics that they run throughout the news that obscure the bottom 20% of the screen and sometimes take away from what is being shown, that you know it's really something that's down near the bottom. But even worse than that is the fact that at least once a program there is a terribly misspelled comment on that graphic.
Where's misspelling?
Where's misspelling when we need
why
it?
they do it, and two, why they don't at least edit whoever is doing the printing of those graphics.
I will have to tell you, Sally, that you'll find misspelling, though, occurs in some of the loftiest of media institutions like the New York Times. Misspellings found it everywhere.
Every night?
Well, in the crunch of what's going on, there are actually people do look over things. But I will have to tell you, I've gone over copy when I'm in a hurry, or when something happens at the last minute, or there's just bedlam going on, and I'll look over something. I'll look over something, and I'll swear that it's correct. And then when I see it on the air, or when I see it in the prompter, I go, And it's something that I've looked over. I think that's one of the things. As far as the graphics are concerned, Sally, there have been other people who have complained to us. I know we've gotten complaints about the graphics, but part of it is if you'll notice, that is the way all of television is going. The networks have changed their graphics. They're flashier. They're bigger. They're what? What are you doing?
There's graphics right here, right under you,
right? They're trying. What they're doing is they're trying to catch your eye, because with and it's interesting. I was watching one of the national talk shows, and everything the guest was saying was. See, I don't watch much television, and so when I was off for this 2 weeks, I was watching TV, and I was just, I was like amazed. Everything the guest was saying, they were doing graphics underneath, like people can't listen themselves. But I think people are assuming, or producers are assuming, that you're coming in and walking in and out of rooms. You're changing with your remote. That's the key. You're changing with your remote all the time, so they have to catch your eye quickly, and the only way to do it is big. That's what I'm assuming, because it's happening everywhere.
Sally?
Well, I do know that the misspellings have turned me off so badly that at times I've gone away to another station for 1 or 2 days. But I can't
until they misspell something.
Oh, don't do that.
Well, I always end up coming back and gritting my teeth and the whole bit, but I really enjoy you, and your personality shows through. And please go back to the girlfriend show once in a while.
Well, I definitely will. I did. I
know.
did.
Well, you know what I'll do? I'll have a former girlfriend show, and then Sally can come on, and all the girlfriends I've enraged on the girlfriend show can come on. The enraged former girlfriends. I've enraged every single one of them. It's not easy being my girlfriend.
We're still your friends.
Isn't it? They're wonderful. Long-suffering friends of Lynn Cullen show. That's what we'll do. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. I'm having too much fun today. I get paid for this. This is amazing. Sally Wiggin, friend. Don't want to say old friend anymore. She makes things so personal, so thin-skinned. She's more educated than I. She's Phi Beta Kappa. What? Just a second. Phi Beta Kappa, although, is the University of Alabama, so that doesn't really count. The only other, I know one other Phi Beta.
You know, I've used that.
No, I know. The only other Phi Beta Kappa I know from the University of Alabama is the great quarterback Bart Starr of the Green Bay Packers.
He was Phi Beta Kappa.
He was Phi Beta Kappa at Alabama. But Sally has a master's degree in Oriental Asian Studies. Oh, I'm sorry, you're the one. I think that's why I did that. She says you don't call people Orientals, or it's not Oriental. That's ridiculous. Asian Studies from the University of Michigan, which is unlike the University of Alabama, is a fine institution of higher education, and she's got a master's.
Many people from University of Alabama you've just alienated out there, but you know what? You're used to doing that.
That's my job.
That is your job.
That is my job. Let's go back to the phones. Fran, go ahead. You're talking to Sally Wiggin.
Fran.
No, you're not. Fran?
Fran. Did we lose Fran?
That's okay.
Oh, poo.
Fran was from Alabama, and she's left. I actually have to credit my producer in my ear for that.
Is that what he said?
Oh, no, and then he's now correcting me and crediting, the TD. You're crediting a touchdown? Oh, technical director.
Technical director.
Did you know that was what a TD is?
Oh, you know television. Stop acting like you don't.
I don't know what a TD is.
Yes, you do.
Bob, hi.
Good morning. Phi Beta Kappa.
I'm afraid so.
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga. Wait, who said cowabunga?
Isn't that the Simpsons?
Who said?
Oh no, that's a.
Howdy Doody.
Who? Howdy Doody did not say cowabunga. Who said cowabunga?
Bart Simpson.
No.
But yes.
No, go way back to Howdy Doody. Buffalo Bob.
It's Howdy Doody time.
Exactly.
The show ain't worth the dime. And as for Uncle Bob, well, he's no good at the job. I can't remember. We used to make fun of him.
Well, Bob, I'm sure you have something to say.
Please.
Listen, over the past couple of months, I've been reading in the newspaper that Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, and the fellow on ABC,
Peter Jennings,
have all signed ridiculous contracts, like $7-8 million a year. I think that's a lot of money for reading. What do you think? I know you're in the business, and I know that if I were you, I'd grab as much as I could, too.
Well, actually, do you know what? They really do a lot more than read.
They do.
They do. They're the managing editors. They are, and actually, in a way, you could say that we sort of are, too, because you're the last person who speaks it, and I once said, oh, something got through, and one of my bosses said, you're the last person to touch that copy. You don't like it. Something's wrong. You have the responsibility to change it. So there is that responsibility. Also, many people do watch a show because of the anchor, and the networks feel that way. And in order to keep their anchors in place, yes, it's a huge amount of money. Sports figures make a huge amount of money. Is Mark McGwire worth what he's going to get if he goes to 61? If he beats Roger Maris's record, who's to say? I really can't. I mean, they get what the market can bear. But I read an interesting article in Newsweek. It was a commentary about how there are now so many sources of information that it has diluted the power of the media. So why are these people making this money? It may be the last time we see this happen, because once these guys are gone, the ones who come afterwards probably aren't going to make as much. Although here I read that Stone Phillips is now making $5 million, and Katie Couric, what did they give her?
$7 million, and Jane Pauley $5.5 million, and I didn't even get a raise last year.
Yeah, it's, you know what, a huge amount of money is involved in what they do, and actually network news now is the way that stations make money. You're not saying anything. You have opinions on this.
Yeah, I think it's obscene, don't you, Bob?
Yeah, I sure do. Thanks a lot, lady.
Goodbye.
Yeah, Bob, I think it's obscene.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
and you know what?
Will I ever make anything like that? Of course not. I don't. I mean, it is. But I mean, I'm not going to say.
Okay, well, we'll be back in just a moment with another overpaid, unopinionated anchor, Sally Wiggin. Okay, just a few minutes left. It's going much too fast because we're having much too much fun. Someone called in and said Snoopy and Peanuts says Cowabunga, too. So there you have it. And back to another Bob. Bob, hi. You're talking to Sally Wiggin.
Hi, Lynn. How are you today?
Fine.
Good. I have a good fact. I can tell a cute story about you and Sally in my ex-restaurant in Sharpsburg, that my waitress didn't recognize you guys, and she let you sit for 10 minutes. I almost had a fit. And the restaurant's gone now. You used to bring so many people in my restaurant. I love you for that, Lynn.
Oh, thank you. It was wonderful, that restaurant.
I remember that. It's fabulous food.
Well, thank you. Thank you both. I appreciate that.
So we weren't recognized in Sharpsburg?
Pardon?
We weren't recognized in Sharpsburg.
Is that why you came? Oh, okay.
That's why I stopped coming, Bob.
I thought it was the baby hot. I thought it was the hot dogs for your son. I thought. I always thought.
Oh, I do remember this.
That was a wonderful restaurant.
Yeah.
So you have a question?
Yes, I do. This is for Sally. Okay. And Sally, I'm just curious. There's so many promos about the next half an hour between the 5 and 6:30 mail, and it's like there's more promos there is news. Do you find that to be true also?
I find that it has changed. Yes, I'm going to be incredible. These shows are always kind of difficult for on-air people. I found that it's changed, and once again, I come back to remotes. I come back to the numerous, almost mind-boggling number of choices you have for visual entertainment, and they have to hold you, and they feel that the only way to hold you is to promote what's coming up, and they have to hold you, say, past a quarter hour, because that's when, if they can hold you, say, you're watching from 11 to 11:15. I'm looking at a clock, so I can get a sense of it. That's why I was looking up like that, Bob. But if they can hold you into that second quarter hour, they also get your numbers, if you have a meter, on that second quarter hour. So that's why you're going to see all the television stations. And I was in Washington, D.C. I saw the same thing.
Oh, yeah, everybody does it.
Yeah, everyone's doing it, and it's because of remotes. It's so easy to sit there. And I remember I was bored. I was sitting there, and I don't watch TV an awful lot because I don't have time, but I was getting a chance to just sit around and relax, and I was pop, 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 and I was just flipping through those channels, and I'm thinking, well, this is why they do it. They're trying to think of anything they can to keep you from touching that remote.
They want to be able to count your head.
I hate to say this, but I think Channel 11 has a perfect idea. 11 or 11, and then go to a new show at that time. They could put in a sitcom for a half an hour.
But then they haven't held you for 15.
Pardon?
11 at well, I don't know. You notice she's gotten all of a sudden stonily silent.
Because actually I'm not sure what he's talking about since I
she's
don't
on
watch.
the air at 11.
Since I don't watch.
They have this.
No, that's why I'm
their
saying I
promotional.
Don't.
Bob.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Bob. Thanks.
Bye, bye.
Thanks for calling.
Bye, bye. Gee, I don't know. I'm sorry. Callers. Jeff, can you do it in 2 seconds? Nah.
Another Jeff?
No, he went, and I don't blame him because we don't have any time. This was fun. You got to do this again, or you got to come back and do my the girlfriend show on the radio.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure, as long as you...
She has a dog. I have made little notes. You have a dog that speaks German.
Yes, he speaks
It's a German Shepherd. Only Wiggin would have a German Shepherd.
I learned 5 words.
What do you know?
Sitz, bleib, Platz.
Platz?
Here means it's
here. Well, I mean,
here,
Sitz must mean sit. What does
Sitz
Platz mean?
Platz means lie down. Giblau means speak. Giblau.
Giblau.
He doesn't do that real well. He just jumps at me when I say that.
Sally Wiggin, up close and personal, and there you have it.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. This was fun. I know it's fun. It's a fun show. I'll be back in just a minute to say what's coming up, to tease you, to promote things. Television. Help it. Tomorrow I'm going to have Sally Wiggin, and then the next day, because that was fun and it wasn't any work for me. Actually, we're going to talk about protecting your financial interests before you marry. Whatever happened to love and trust and commitment? Gee whiz. I'm on the radio on 1360 AM from noon to 3. You can join me over there. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Have a good day. Bye-bye.